Hello and Happy New Year. It's the last time in the current Round Britain quiz season that we'll be meeting Alan McCredie and Val McDermid of the Scotland team and Paul Sinha and Marcus Berkmann of the South of England. Whether the outcome today, whichever way it goes, will be sufficient to decide the series title very much depends on the other remaining contests in the series. When these teams met in the autumn, Scotland won, but only by 2 points, so there's every chance of a reversal today. They are getting their question papers as I speak. So while they get the first sight of the scale of the challenge they face today, let's see what you made of the teaser I left you with last week. I gave you this sequence. Folkestone and Hythe, Witney in Oxfordshire, Doncaster North, Camberwell and Peckham. And I asked what came next. This wasn't too problematic, I don't think, but then I always think that because I know the answers. It's about the parliamentary constituencies of the 5 most recent leaders of the opposition in the UK. Michael Howard was the MP for Folkestone and Hythe, David Cameron for Witney, Ed Miliband for Doncaster North, and Harriet Harman for Camberwell and Peckham. Strictly speaking, she spent 2 brief spells as leader of the opposition during this period, either side of Ed Miliband. So the next in line would be Jeremy Corbyn, whose constituency is Islington North. So, having got that out of the way, Alan and Val, this time you take the first question, and it's this. Why might Richard Wilson be incredulous at a motorbike, a boys' comic, Dr. Frankenstein, and the Radio Corporation of America? Why might Richard Wilson be incredulous at a motorbike, a boys' comic, Dr. Frankenstein, and the Radio Corporation of America?
Well, we think the clue to this lies in the character that Richard Wilson played in One Foot in the Grave, the grumpy, curmudgeonly Victor Meldrew, whose catchphrase was, "I don't believe it!"
Yes.
So we
Very
think
good.
we're
You've started well. Yeah.
We're looking at victors here. Yeah. There's, of course, the Victor, the boys' comic, and Dr. Frankenstein's first name was Victor.
The Radio Corporation of America, though, poses a bit of a problem.
I'm not quite sure why that's a Victor. RCA Victor. RCA Victor.
Very good. Sometimes you just have to say it aloud, don't you, and it comes back.
And the motorbike, again, we're not quite sure about the motorbike, but we presume it's a brand of motorbike.
Yeah, you can't do any better than that. No, you're not petrol heads, obviously.
An Indian, an eagle.
No.
Ariel,
I mean, you've got the
Triumph.
name. You've got the name of the
a Triumph Victor.
No.
Well, BSA Victor.
BSA. You got there in the end. Yeah. So, why might Richard Wilson be incredulous at a motorbike, a boys' comic, Dr. Frankenstein, and the Radio Corporation of America? You correctly identified we were looking for victors. Victor Meldrew. And the BSA Victor, iconic motorbike. The boys' comic, the Victor. Dr. Frankenstein, who is Victor Frankenstein. And finally, the Radio Corporation of America, which became RCA Victor after buying the Victor Talking Machine Company in 1929. Completely victorious, I think. 6 points to you, Scotland. So, South of England, this idea comes from James Heafield. Why ought you to ask permission from mum and dad before taking tea with primates, sending an email to an oceanic domain, or reading the works of Plum? Why ought you to ask permission from mum and dad before taking tea with primates, sending an email to an oceanic domain, or reading the works of Plum?
Reading the works of Plum would be P.G. Wodehouse.
Tea with primates, PG Tips, the adverts.
Yes, very good.
We're working on the assumption that sending an email to an oceanic domain would be that the email address for Papua New Guinea would be PG.
Very good.
And you need to ask permission from mum and dad to go to a PG film in a cinema.
And can you give me the acronym? I'm going to press...
Parental guidance.
Parental guidance, exactly right. Yeah, I mean, just for fun, I won't dock you a point if you don't. Do you know why it's called PG Tips?
No idea.
Originally marketed as pre-gest tea, because it was supposed to be a digestive aid, and then I think the government said you're not allowed to pretend But it's a digestive aid, yeah, so they changed it to PG. I think grocers had shortened it to PG anyway.
Fascinating.
They were all clues to PG, parental guidance. PG Tips gave you the tea with primates. .pg is the domain for Papua New Guinea, the internet domain. And finally, Plum is PG Woodhouse. Very well done. 6 points to you, South of England. We're all even so far. Your music question, Val and Alan. What can you read into this sequence, and in what languages would you originally find them?
Yeah, darling, go make it happen. Take the world in a loving embrace. Fire all of the guns at once and explode into space. Like a true nature's child, we were born to be wild. We can climb so high, I never wanna die. Born to be wild. Born to be wild. Mr. Pharmacist, can you help me out today in your usual lovely way? Oh, Mr. Pharmacist, I insist, can you give me some of the Pepsi? Mr. Pharmacist, dear pharmacist, won't you please give me some energy? Mr. Pharmacist, Mr. Pharmacist.
Way down south in Birmingham, I mean south in Alabama's an old place where people go to dance the night away.
It's a junction where the town folk meet at each function in their best they'll greet you.
So, Scotland, what can you read into that sequence, and in what languages would you originally find them?
The first one was Steppenwolf, Born to be Wild.
That's right.
And the original novel was by Hermann Hesse and was in German.
Correct.
Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
The
And
second
then we
one
have
was
The
by
Fall.
The Fall, which I think might be Camus in French.
That's right, yes.
The third one we're not
Originally
so
La
sure
Chute.
about. It's Tuxedo Junction, but we're not very sure
Yeah.
about
You need
who
the
it's
performer.
performed by.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you may have grasped the principle of this question.
Yes,
now. I
it's
think
the-
you have.
the
So
name
you
of-
know you're looking for.
The name of the performer is the name of a novel in another language.
Yeah.
The translated title of the novel.
Well, in a language, not necessarily in another language.
Oh, in a language. I'm not sure who the Tuxedo Junction was. I told you the thing I was thinking was Manhattan Transfer, but that doesn't make any sense, does it? Does
That
Manhattan
makes a lot of
Transfer
sense.
make a lot of sense?
Yes, it makes complete
Okay,
sense.
Manhattan
Why does it
Transfer.
not make sense to you?
Okay, it just didn't. Okay, so Manhattan Transfer must be a novel.
It must be.
Yeah, you can't name the
I
author.
can't, I'm afraid. I can't. Can you?
No.
No, a
Sorry.
sprawling sort of 1920s novel. I'm going to throw it over. Do you know this? John Dos Passos. Exactly right. Yeah.
There we go.
So we played you Steppenwolf, Born to be Wild, The Fall, Mr. Pharmacist, and Manhattan Transfer singing Tuxedo Junction. We asked what you can read into that sequence and in what languages you would find them. You could read the titles of novels, Steppenwolf, The Fall, because the band took their name from La Chute, the Camus novel, and finally Manhattan Transfer took their name from the novel by John Dos Passos. I think I dock 1 point only for not knowing the author of Manhattan Transfer. So 5 points to you, Scotland. So, Paul and Marcus, the idea for your next question has been supplied by an RBQ listener, John Villiers. Why might you expect to find a Jumbly Girls admirer, the writer of Living Doll and From Russia with Love, and A Short Sleep in a vault in the Lion City. Why might you expect to find a Jumbly Girls admirer, the writer of Living Doll and From Russia with Love, and A Short Sleep in a vault in the Lion City?
Well, let's start with the easy one. The writer
Always a good idea.
Yes,
Yeah.
the writer of Living Doll and From Russia with Love is Lionel Bart.
Yeah.
Which is a clever pun, as it turned out.
Which is Bart, B-A-R-T. We think this is B-A-H-T, which is a currency in, is it Thailand?
It is. Yes.
And from there, Paul rather brilliantly came up with most of the rest, which...
Well, the clue was trying to work out Lion City, which I think is Singapore.
It is Singapore, yes.
So try and find currencies that you'd find in Singapore. Got us to Kip, which I think is the currency of Laos.
That's absolutely right, yep.
And then we had no idea on the first clue, but I do know that the currency of Vietnam is the dong. So we thought this might be something to do with the dong with the luminous nose.
It is, in fact, the dong with the luminous nose. Beautifully answered. No devaluation at all. 6 points to you. So, why might you expect to find a Jumbly Girls admirer? The dong with the luminous nose. The writer of Living Doll and From Russia with Love, Lionel Bart. And A Short Sleep, a kip in a vault in the Lion City being Singapore, because those are all the currencies of Southeast Asian countries, the dong, the baht and the kip. Well done, South of England, 6 points to you. So, Scotland, in what kind of landscape might you encounter a veteran spectator cartoonist, one who was sculpted in solid gold, and the inventor of a reliable test for arsenic? In what kind of landscape might you encounter a veteran spectator cartoonist, one who was sculpted in solid gold, and the inventor of a reliable test for arsenic? Val McDermid, the last part of this might have been written for you.
Absolutely. Yeah, but only the last part of it. The inventor of the reliable test for arsenic was James Marsh, who invented a test for arsenic. And the first time he tested it, it was tested in court. The specimen had become corrupted and the test couldn't be replicated, so he went back and refined the test to make it work better. And who knows how many poisoners there were getting away with it before there was a reliable test for it. However, all of this is just distraction from the fact that we're a bit stuck on the rest of the question.
Well, you've got a marsh, so...
yeah, we clearly know it's some
a
form
marsh,
of boggy landscape.
Pete. Is the cartoonist called Pete?
I'm sure there is a cartoonist called Pete, but it's not the one we're looking for. Very celebrated cartoonist, not just a cartoonist for the Spectator, cartoonist for Private Eye, Punch when it still existed.
I'm thinking Matt, but
I
that's
keep
not
thinking
going
Matt, so that's not going to
fit
help
in.
us, no. Bog.
You'll kick yourself when it occurs to you.
I'm sure we will.
And then one who was sculpted in solid gold we're again struggling with.
It's one of those ones that's
Sculpture by Mark Quinn of
Oh,
Kate Moss in a rather inelegant pose, it has to be said.
right. So we've got the moss, we've got the marsh.
So you can have that one for free, okay?
Thank you.
That's my fault.
So that was moss.
You've got moss, you've got moss and marsh
Moss.
because I gave you moss, but
Yeah.
that doesn't get you any closer. You know what kind of landscape
Yeah, we
you're
know
in.
exactly the kind of landscape, but we're totally stalling on cartoonists.
Cartoonists of great bores of today. Does that help you at all?
Oh. Heath.
Heath. You got there
Finally.
in the end. So, in what kind of landscape might you encounter a veteran spectator cartoonist, Michael Heath, one who is sculpted in solid gold, Kate Moss, and the inventor of a reliable test for arsenic, that was James Marsh, which you got yourself. Whether you would have got to Moss without me obligingly handing it to you on a plate, I don't know, but I suspect not. But I will give you the benefit of the doubt and 3 points overall. So, South of England, I might have to give you a little bit of extra assistance here to balance things out. This question has come from one of our regular correspondents, Ivan Wetton in Cumbria. Why would these be unlikely to involve A and E?
All day we fought the tides between the North Head and the South. All day we hauled the frozen sheets to escape the storm's wet mouth. All day as cold as charity, in bitter pain and dread. For very life and nature, we tacked from head to head.
So, Marcus and Paul, your note-taking there varied from the triumphant to the tentative to the troubled. I don't know whether you found a way into this question. Why would those be unlikely to involve A and E?
I've got the first. The first is Sting from an album that he did of John Dowland's music, all the Liar stuff. So Sting suggests to me that this is all about minor injuries. And
that's why you wouldn't get an A&E.
You wouldn't go to A&E.
Very good. You might have steered wrongly into spelling, but it's not about letters. It's about
from there we are rather stuck because we.
What about the bird song? You don't listen to Tweet of the Day, then?
Curiously, no. So a bird that has the same name as a minor injury, but I cannot think what that would be. The classical music, I haven't a clue. And the last one is Malcolm McLaren, I think.
Yes.
Is it Buffalo Stance? Is that?
It's Buffalo Gals.
Buffalo Gals. Okay.
And we're looking not for the title here, but the technique.
Scratch.
Very good.
Of course. Very good. Scratch.
Good scrambling there. Good scrambling.
Now you've got the overall principle. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to see if you can work your way to the bird and the piece of classical music. Both of these would, I think, require the application of an ointment. Ointment or cream, probably.
Graze.
And why?
Is that the bird? Or is it's not the no.
Oh, I was so hopeful. But no, it's not the bird.
It's the music, but I haven't a clue. I just don't know about it.
You don't know? It's a very famous piece of classical
music.
Is
it based on Gray's Elegy in a Country Tune?
No, nice try. Do you know it's Scotland?
Sheep may safely graze.
Sheep may safely graze, yeah.
No, wouldn't know that.
But,
and the bird song.
Do you know the bird?
No.
No, and you can't guess at it. I'm going to give the thrush. It's a song thrush. So, why would those pieces be unlikely to involve A&E? Because they're all clues to relatively minor ailments. I suppose some people actually do turn up at A&E with that, but most people don't. We heard Christmas at Sea, sung by Sting, a recording of Turdus Philomelus, the song thrush, Sheep May Safely Graze by J.S. Bach, and finally Malcolm McLaren, Buffalo Gals, which of course involves scratch. You wrongly identified the Sting as coming from the Dowland album. It's not from that, in fact. So You started well, and then you stumbled. I don't think I can give you more than 3 for that, south of England. So, Scotland, your final question. Why might there be total chaos if Henry VIII's wives went on a tour of the hills of Rome, the founder of Eton College danced to Richard Strauss's Salome, and a group of French composers recited blessings at a Jewish wedding? Why might there be total chaos if Henry VIII's wives went on a tour of the hills of Rome, the founder of Eton College danced to Richard Strauss's Salome, and a group of French composers recited blessings at a Jewish wedding?
Well, this is obviously something to do with numbers.
It is.
And I'm not quite sure why it's chaotic, but we're going to have a stab at it. Henry VIII had the 6 wives, and Rome has, like Sheffield, 7 hills.
Yep.
Which gives us a total of 13 for that part of the question.
Yeah.
Then we have Richard Strauss's Salome, the Dance of the Seven Veils.
That's right.
We think the founder of Eton College was Henry VI.
Yes.
Which again gives us 13. So we think we might be looking at 13s.
Well, yeah, there is such a thing as being too clever for your own good.
I thought
frequently illustrated in Round Britain quiz.
I thought we might come unstuck.
Yeah.
The group of French composers is the 5.
No.
No. Yeah. The group of French composers is the... It's the 5.
No.
Well, that's the Russians. That's the Russians. That's the Russians.
Yeah. If you say it, if you say it in French, it might assist you.
6, 7, 6, 6.
Les six.
Les six. Okay, so there's 6. That was me confusing my French and my Russians. So there must be therefore 7 blessings at a Jewish wedding.
Yeah.
Which will give us another 13.
Or
39.
That famous chaos.
I love this because I know the listeners are sitting at home and they can see what is sitting absolutely smack in front of you and you can't see yet.
1, 3, 1, 3.
Well, we've also got 666 as well, which is
you've gone every way at this question except for the correct answer.
3 6s, 3 7s.
Well,
I'm not good at sums, Tom. I'm really not good at sums.
Why might there be total chaos?
Well,
13 times 30 times 13.
It's almost uncanny, actually. I'm going to let the South of England dance put you out of your misery.
6s and 7s.
Oh.
And with a mighty exhalation of breath, you get it, finally. So, why might there be total chaos? Because you'd be all at 6s and 7s. Henry VIII's 6 wives went on a tour of the 7 hills of Rome. The founder of Eton College, Henry VI, danced to Richard Strauss's Salome, the Dance of 7 Veils, and the group of French composers, Les Six, recited blessings at a Jewish wedding, the 7 blessings. The Sheva Brachot. So, you did pretty well with that. You got all of the essential components. I think I can only dock you 1 for not seeing what was sort of plainly written under your noses. So 5 to you, Scotland. So, South of England, it's a reversal of what happened last time. You need 4 to draw and 5 to win. And this very ingenious question comes from Peter Stockdale in Lancashire. What is the symbolic connection, in a literary sense, between the following? A fishing line sinker and a skylark, an atomic clock and a river adventure in Africa, the gods' winged messenger and the invasion of the earth, a noble gas and the Larkin family? What's the symbolic connection, in a literary sense, between the following? A fishing line sinker and a skylark, an atomic clock and a river adventure in Africa, the gods' winged messenger and the invasion of the earth, a noble gas and the Larkin family.
Well, we started with the noble gas and the Larkin family. The noble gas would be helium, and the Larkin family are the creation of H.E. Bates, and helium, the symbol in the periodic table for helium is He.
Very good.
The god's winged messenger and the invasion of the Earth, well, the God's winged messenger is Mercury, Hg. The invasion of the Earth, Hg Wells.
Yep.
And
I know nothing about fishing line sinkers, but do know that Percy Bysshe Shelley wrote To a Skylark, which meant that the fishing line sinker was lead, or PB.
Yep.
And I do know that the atomic clock is based on cesium, which is CS, which gives us C.S. Forrester and the African Queen.
Excellently done. Yes, you've got every single detail. It's 6 points. The symbolic connection in a literary sense between all of those clues was the initials. A fishing line sinker is usually made of lead, which gives you PB, the initials of Shelley, who wrote the Skylark, To a Skylark. An atomic clock, as you correctly identified, gets its accuracy from cesium. That symbol is CS, which leads to C.S. Forrester. The God's winged messenger is Mercury, symbol Hg, leads to H.G. Wells. And finally, the noble gas is helium, He, which leads you to H.E. Bates, creator of the Larkin family. Beautifully answered. You needed 5 to win. You've done it with 1 to spare, 6 points. And so we have an exact reversal of the score last time. This time Scotland scored 19 points and the South East get 21. So we've reversed the result. It means that with both of these teams having played all of their matches in the series, Scotland have won 1 and lost 3, while the South of England have won 2 and lost 2. Next week, we'll find out whether Wales or Northern Ireland can match those tallies with their last clash of the 2016-17 season. And I'll also give the answer to this question, which you can also find on our webpage. In what sense do a beautiful cupbearer, the mother of King Minos of Crete, a priestess transformed into a cow, and a nymph transformed into a bear, now all encircle their lover? In what sense do a beautiful cupbearer, the mother of King Minos of Crete, a priestess transformed into a cow, and a nymph transformed into a bear, all encircle their lover? I'll give you the answer to that next time. I hope you'll join us. Until then, goodbye.